Yeah, thanks for the question. I think one of the things that we would articulate at Blizzard are, the values of an organization. And one of the things that I would say is that we have a long history of leading with making values-based decisions. And the first most important value that we have at Blizzard is gameplay first. And coming with that is a philosophy around player first, around our community, around the community building activities that we do. And all those things have been true for decades at Blizzard, and all those things are going to continue to be true for decades. There's no change or no decision that we want to make to jeopardize what we think has made us very successful. And so, the entire leadership team is oriented around being a values organization and doing the right thing for the players and the right thing for the company. Regarding the first question, every job has got its challenges for sure. And one of the opportunities that Ray Bresco and I had kind of coming into the new roles that we had was to really look at the things that we were building, the games that we were making, and sort of make some decisions as to how we wanted to kind of move going forward. And one of the things that we decided is that we actually want to invest more in our development community. We want to invest more in our development talent. And so we made the decision to increase the amount of development talent that we have at Blizzard. And so you're going to see us continue to hire for our franchises because we think the opportunity that we have and the hunger that our players have for our content is very high. And so we want to look at ways for us to continue to make great games and continue to make great content for all of our franchises. I'll do the second question first and kind of come back to the first one. Diablo is a franchise that I personally have just a great amount of love and affinity for. It's one that is more than 20 years old at this point, and so we've been fortunate enough to have a long history of really excellent games that have gone into it, and a lot of passion and a lot of love from the community around it. Our feedback that we got for Diablo Immortal was a little mixed, and I think a lot of that is something that's really important to talk about, which is I think the community heard the message when we announced Diablo Immortal that we were pivoting to be a mobile-only company, and that is not the case. Blizzard is a PC company. We're going to continue to be a PC company. We do have aspirations to bring some of our franchises to mobile because we think that's a great opportunity. And we also like the idea as being fans of those franchises ourselves of being able to play those games when they're not in front of our computer. But fundamentally, Blizzard is primarily a PC company and is going to continue to invest heavily in PC and continue to make PC games. And so that's sort of the big mistake, I think, of last year's BlizzCon is not really saying that loudly and often enough, is that we are a PC first and continue to be a PC first company. And I'll let Ms. Lee do the translation, and I'll come back to the first question. I cannot do any of those things, unfortunately. We want to make sure that we plan to have all of our games in a position where we know when they're going to line up, and we want to ensure that the game is going to be a great, high-quality experience. And so traditionally, we've resisted making any announcements around dates until we feel like we're very sure. And so we are not sure yet. And so when we get to a point where we feel confident in both the release date of World of Warcraft 3 Reforged and in Diablo Immortal, we'll have more news to announce that. So, watching different kind of games and playing different kind of games and having that experience sort of with your friends is a really awesome experience. And when you take it to a public venue that's being broadcast and has some of the best players in the world, the energy that you feel when you're there is really indescribable. I think it's really just one of the best experiences that you can have if you're a fan of video games, if you're a fan of, in this particular case, StarCraft and Hearthstone, right? If you're a fan of those games, there's just nothing like that experience of being able to see and feel and watch the kind of competition unfold. And in particular, the Hearthstone tournament this past weekend ended with a bit of an exciting ending. And so it was great to really feel the kind of the crowd energy, and then the players felt that crowd energy as well, as in terms of how they kind of made their moves. So I'm a huge fan, and I'm a huge fan for life of attending kind of in-person esports events. In terms of different partners that we want to do, we see esports as something that's growing. It's a huge opportunity. It's a huge way to celebrate people who are fans of our games. It's an awesome way to see just the best players in the world of that particular game, and excellent competition. So we're always looking for different ideas in terms of how we want to invest and how we want to kind of take the next step, because we believe in a huge future of esports. On the first one, there isn't one answer for that, because we think there's opportunities in a lot of our different franchises. There's a lot of things that we want to do more in every game and every franchise that we're currently working on. If you think about what it's like to develop any kind of creative endeavor, the ideas that we have are one of the easier parts of the endeavor, right? You can create a list of things that you want to do very easily, and executing on those list of things that you create is very hard. So that's why we think that there is an opportunity in terms of increasing the amount of developers we have, because we have a lot of ideas, we have a lot of things that we want to do, and we like to bring more of those to kind of fruition. And so they're going to be spread out amongst all the games, all the franchises, and all the platforms. Regarding heroes, we look at all of our games and all the different kind of priorities that we have on a regular basis, and we decide, hey, what's the right size of this team, and almost as important are there things that the team can work on that can help other projects, and so that's something we do on a regular basis. So I think I should probably say that in terms of Order Alliance or Protoss, Terra, and Zerg, I love all my children equally. But in StarCraft in particular, I've actually been a lifelong Protoss player. Regarding the story about the party, that is true. That's with a small group of people, and we're at a party, and someone had brought a laptop, and we ended up going into a back room and hooking up the laptop so that we could stream StarCraft 2 matches and just watch that as opposed to participating. I think the 2013 incident is a grave misunderstanding, honestly, between what I thought at the time, and just still what I think, and what I communicated. So, what I was trying to communicate in 2013 was that there is a thing called nostalgia. And in the US, we have a term called rose-colored glasses, which is about you don't remember pain, you don't remember the bad parts, you only remember the good feelings that you had at that time in your life. And there's a lot of things that were part of that time in your life. Maybe it was the friends you had, maybe it was the school or the job you had. Like, there's a lot of things that contribute to nostalgia and make it very large. That didn't get communicated super well, but that's sort of what I was trying to communicate. We talked about what would be classic for a very long time, even before that conversation, how we would actually do it. And technically, there was not a great way for us to bring it about. And so we would spend time, every now and then thinking about how would we bring back classic? How would we do it? Because it's very large technical challenge, because one of the bad parts that people don't remember about WoW Classic is that it had some problems, it had some technical issues. And so we didn't think that that would be acceptable in today's world, in today's Blizzard. So how would we think about it? And obviously, you know, we did come up with an idea as to how we could do it technically, how we could continue to support the community, and how we could run a version of WoW that is WoW Classic and the modern WoW, which is Battle for Azeroth today, in a way that made sense. And honestly, you know, one of the best experiences of my career was being able to announce WoW Classic to the Warcraft community. Yes, so we're always looking, you know, the WoW team is over 300 people, and we're always looking for different kind of gameplay experiences or different kind of things that we can add to the game, or different kind of new sort of looks at different kind of content that people can kind of enjoy. So that's something that we're doing on a regular basis, and have lots of parts of the teams who are thinking about that. On the second question, you know, I do have a chance to talk with Mike often, and actually I talked with Mike right before I left for this trip. This is the last time I chatted. Yeah, we don't have anything to announce on that this time. I think you know, we're always looking for. We have people who've come to us to talk about different kind of game ideas all the time. That's not new. That's been something that's gone on for many years. You know, if you think about Blizzard's actually done, you know, a handful of different sort of external development over the years. Some of them have shipped, and some of them have not worked out. But we're happy with the relationship with NetEase, and there's a very strong partnership between the companies. So we have, I don't know if there's an example of a specific policy that we want to talk about, but you know, when we think about Blizzard and we think about the esports that we're doing, they're very much we think of them as very much part of the game, right? And so if you think about the games that we make and the competitive nature of those games, the esports is an outgrowth of that. And so there's really not a way to necessarily have a lot of outside influences when it comes to the sort of the different esports programs. Now, having said that, we have formed the Overwatch League, which is a separate entity that has some partners that we brought on to help grow a separate Overwatch League business that's dedicated to Overwatch and is dedicated to being a global sporting league, really unlike anything that has really ever been tried or ever been attempted. And that is a separate sort of legal entity with separate sort of partners and separate people kind of buy in. And so there's a lot of opinions that come into how we should make that successful. But the success of the Overwatch League is highly dependent upon the success of the creation program. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a complicated issue for our time for sure. And I think, you know, we'll continue to partner with the various game agencies and work with the various organizations to kind of make the right decision. I think this is an evolving conversation, and we'll continue to be kind of partners in that discussion and figuring out what the right things to do going forward. So I think, you know, one of the values that we have is play nice, play fair. And what this value sort of encompasses is the idea that we all want to have a fair working environment. We all want to have a place free from harassment. And I think, you know, one of the things that we do with regard to hiring and reviews and different sort of employee-related matters is use that as one of the lenses for our decisions. And so we do not tolerate racial discrimination. We do not tolerate sexual harassment in the workplace, because we think that everyone has a right to their own work. We think that everyone has a right to be themselves at work, and that's the environment that we want to create. With regard to the second question, it's actually the same as the first. You know, we believe that everyone has a right to be whoever it is that they are, and another one of our values is to embrace your inner geek. And so if you think about what that means for us, it means you be you. You celebrate who you are, whatever that happens to be. And it's a very strong thing within the culture of Blizzard. And so it is natural in my mind that the values that we have internally are going to be part of our game creation as well. I think the thing I would say most is that just had an excellent time, you know, and I think that, you know, visiting the IGR and seeing the passion of the people there and seeing, like I talked about earlier, the passion of the esports fans, it's just a great sight to see. And then, you know, in Korea, Korea is looked at as sort of as the birthplace of esports, and so to kind of see that come through is an awesome thing. So thank you.